Now I'm going to show you how to make icing roses. And I'm going to show you how to make the green leaves. And we're going to get started right away. This is our cake. It doesn't look like a cake, but it's going to be our cake. I'm going to put the roses on here. And we're going to need 3 bags. So one of them, like I said, will just be for to put a little icing on the cake. So we'll just put some icing in here. And then where I close it, it's just going to, I go away from where the fold is, okay, and I'm just going to fold it down and then fold it over and try to fold that down a little bit, okay, and get the little point. These little points sometimes hurt your hand. Alright, so we'll just leave that closed for right now because it'll dry out if I don't. Then we'll take a little bit of icing in a bowl. You need a little bit more than what you need because you have to have something in the bag. Now this is my favorite color for leaves. It's called moss green. And you always want to use a toothpick to take your color out. Okay, and just grab some color like that and just run it through your icing and just literally throw the stick away. Now use a knife to stir. You may need more. It's not a bright green, but it's a pretty green for the rose. Okay, so now we'll add that to a bag. First, I take it on a knife. Okay, and then I'll just pick up the bag and just drop it into the bag. Go all the way down and use your finger to pull it off. The more icing you have in here, the easier it is later to actually use. You don't need too much though. And this last one will be for the rose. And I'm going to use the rest of this icing, so I don't even really need a bowl here. And that I'm going to use, this is called Super Red. I just opened it. We'll see what happens together. Maybe I'll use 2 little toothpicks. Get a little extra. Super Red. You never want to put your toothpick back into the container that you took it out of. It's always hard to make red, so they've always coming up with a new red that's more red. I guess because of the white icing, it's hard to really make a bright red. So you'll drop your tip in the bag and just kind of cut a little curve at the bottom of your bag, not too high up, and see where this comes out. You don't want it to be too big. I think that's good. So now we have our tip down in the bag. We're going to, I do like to use a knife when I put colors in. So take a knife and just, same way for this, put it in and hold it down. You don't really want to have too much in there. And be careful not to shake too much because sometimes the tip will flip over in the bottom. So fold this down, same way as you did for the other bags. Okay. So now we have, this is our rose nail, and we're going to start by putting some icing down on the rose nail, making a little mound and curling it around. And then we're going to build it up one more shelf, curl it around, and one more shelf. Curl it around. That's the top of your rose. Okay, I always like to wipe off the tip. So now you're going to go around and you're going to make a loop, and then go back to the center of that loop and go around again. and go around to the center of that last one and do it. Come up almost to the top of the rose, then go to the center, squeeze, and come around again. And now this one is going to come around almost to the end of it. Now you curl it around, go to the center, and you're going to build your rose out, like so. And then you make a little mound where you're going to want to put your rose on your cake. Pretend like that's the cake. And then you go and you take your scissor and go underneath the rose and come over here and pull it off. And then with the tip of the rose nail, you can pull the rose off the nail. And then you can start again. I'm going to make a little smaller one now to put next to it. You have to do the same thing. You have to build it up. Form more of a bud. And then put a little icing down where you want your rose to go. Now, if this was a chocolate cake, then I would be using chocolate icing because you want this little mound to match your cake. So you go down under the rose again, pick it up, and just go right next to it. Okay. And I can actually make even a little smaller one. A little bud. Okay. And I just take the bottom of my finger and I go around to smooth the bottom of the rose off. And then you can put a little bit down if you like. Okay, and go down underneath the rose and pull it off. Alright, and then you can even, if you want, there's another, what you can do is there's little teeny rose buds. Okay, and you kind of want to go in the direction of when somebody's looking at the cake. Alright, so you would make a rose, you just kind of push it out and then go around it like that. And it curls it around. And we can make a rose on this side a little bit smaller than the big one. Pull that off and put a little bit of icing there. And then pull this off. You can make little buds. Again. So much fun decorating a board. Okay. Little teeny one. And then to make a leaf bag, to get your leaf, what I've done is I've flattened, this is the leaf bag. You flatten that, and you wipe off my scissor. You flatten that, and then you're just going to cut. You're going to cut cut the ends off like a V, like that, and always be sure you get rid of those little pieces, otherwise they might get caught up again in your icing. Do a leaf. You want to just squeeze and hold it down in one place and just kind of pull it off. Okay? Squeeze the leaf down so it makes a base, and then come up and just kind of let go. And now we can do that on the rose itself. I noticed that I covered up part of when I put this down on here, so I'm going to show you again. But you want to come down from behind the rose, okay? And you want to kind of build up on the cake. And then pull it off so you can see it from different sides on your cake. So it just comes up right above the rose. Alright, so you have little leaves around your rose and it looks pretty. And so then we have our green bag of icing. And I showed you how to make the little leaf. And you can put a couple on the backs of your little roses. Should make them according to the size of their rose. Okay, I'm pretending like this is a cake. If you want to put a lot of icing underneath and behind it, like that. Alright. Put one in the front. You could actually build some green off out there and back there. So you can just play with that on your cake and you have some little roses.